G'day camper. Today we're talking about the King's Big Daddy Air Swag. And I've got to say, compared to other King swags I've used or seen, I'm impressed. But you're about to find out where quality control is already sliding. And before we go any further, I just want to make it very clear that no product I review on this channel will ever be sponsored by the product I'm reviewing. So who is it for? Well, obviously it's massive, so it's not for small vehicle campers. You have to have a large vehicle, and you need a huge amount of space to store this thing. Now, if you love the idea of a swag, but you get a bit claustrophobic and think you might not handle it, that's not going to happen in this. There is plenty of space there. And of course, if you're a camping crew of two, whether with a romantic partner, or I don't know, maybe you're just that close with your mates, two people can sleep very comfortably in this swag. The hard stats. Packed up like this, it measures 1540 wide, about 430 around. It weighs 18.8 kilos, and so for a bit of comparison, the normal Big Daddy non-air version weighs 14.4, and a Darchi Airvolution 1400 double weighs 16.5 kilos. Open and set up on the King's website, it claims to be 2150 long by 1550 wide by 960 tall. But is it? We'll have a look in a moment. The swag and the bag are 320 GSM canvas. The cheaper Big Daddy is 400 GSM. So that's interesting, but there's more to it than it seems. It's got a 500 GSM PVC floor, 70mm mattress, and it will set you back between $350 and $500 depending on the day you purchase. So the bag actually comes with this swag. On the last King swag I bought, you had to buy the bag separate, and it was crap. We'll talk about the quality in a moment, because it also comes with an air pump and a hose and pegs. The pegs, quite well made, no complaints there. Back on the bag, it's really quite well made. Nice chunky zip, all the stitching inside is nice, there's no loose ends. The handles on each end is really nice for a two-person carry. Swag fits in there, no drama at all. Look how much space there is there, and that has a sleeping bag rolled up in it. The pump and hoses and everything fit in. Yep, super impressed given that last time I bought a King swag I had to pay extra for the bag and it was junk. Now if you watched my last swag review, you'll know how much I love the D rings. Solid stainless steel, just nothing can go wrong with them, easy to operate. They're not like a plastic buckle that can snap. The corner of the swag that has the one-way valve for the pump is marked by this little blue tag. And you've also got this tiny zippered spot here to put a power cord into, I think. A very clear warning of the pressure. The hose screws on. The hose screws on at the pump end too. Yep, I forgot about that. You should attach the pump end first because it doesn't rotate. Now I have to rotate the pump. The 7 PSI pressure release right here. So you really can't overinflate and stuff it up. One. See, what it was doing is it sags in the middle and then it pinches so the air can't get through to the rest of the frame. I think I was up to 32, 33, 34, 35. Now can you hear the extra hissing? That's the pressure relief valve. 52 seconds to get it to this stage. That's pretty quick. So I bought this swag just to review. A few of you had asked for it in the comments and I thought I have never owned an air camping product before, so yeah, I'm keen to give this a go. Now this is a short-term review, so I've only actually slept in it twice, but I have left it set up in my backyard for 7 days, and that presented an interesting sagging problem, which I hadn't thought about, but it totally makes sense that it happens. And we'll talk a bit about that in the cons, but now I just want to walk around the swag and just sort of show you what it's all about. For me, the whole point of a swag is quick roll out, your bed's ready to go. I don't like doing pegs too much. Freestand's great, but if you're expecting high winds, there's a fair bit of movement in the swag. I'd at least be pegging those ends out to reduce that movement. Side sag, this is something that bothers a lot of people with these gigantic double swags, is that with minimal poles, it's hard to get the tension and you end up with a lot of sagging. I think it's actually quite reasonable on this swag. Let me know what you think. Just looking at what you can see there, do you think that's better than a normal double swag? I do. If I wanted it to be even better, I could peg it out down in the corners here. There's steel D-rings at each corner. And of course, peg the end shelter bits out. Now the canvas is pretty nice. It's not like Darchi nice or like way up crash pad nice, but it is so much better than the basic budget King swags. As I said at the start, those budget swags claim 400 GSM, this claims 320 GSM. I've got no way of measuring to see how true that is, but as a lighter canvas, it feels better than their 400 GSM stuff. It feels like real canvas. Yes, I have seasoned this 3 times under the hose and the sprinkler in the backyard. I would have tried to use the bathtub method, but it's just too big. I don't have a bathtub big enough for that. The edge stitching is nice. It's actual canvas edge stitching on this, whereas on the cheaper swags, it's this awful nylon stuff. The zippers, just like the bag, they're great. Got these nice big pull tags on them. It's got these big storm flaps here. They come all the way down to the bottom. The problem is they're really tight. So that causes a little bit of difficulty because you have to really peel them back to get to your door. And then when you're in your bed, how are you going to put your hand out there, and are you able to get your hand around and pull the storm flap over and then try and, you see what I'm saying? It's actually when you're in the swag, it's hard to get the storm flap back over. So my trick is to not bring the zipper all the way up, to just down the bottom here, the storm flap's looser. Of course, it's not such a problem if you're done in the swag for the night and you're just zipping it up for the day. Got the nice super fine insect mesh here. That's pretty standard on any swag, even the crap ones. Enormous windows at both ends. Oh, you could just about sleep in that thing sideways. And this mattress is so comfy. I am pleased to say it meets the specs. It says 70 mil thick on the website. It is 70 mil thick, 1470 wide by 2100 long. But how about the swag dimensions? I trust nothing anymore. Every product that has measurements, I will measure them. It should be 2150. Spot on length 2150. Corners of the PVC bucket floor, bang on 1550. Height, this is a little bit hard with the window open. I'll have to just drop the window. God, like, I could say 955, but what's 5 mil? We are on a roll. All of the dimensions measure up. The mattress is comfortable, but does it leak? It's time to talk pros and cons. Pro number 1, it is really comfortable. 70 mil mattress is perfect. Now, I should probably warn you that I'm quite tolerant of crappy beds. So if you can't handle anything but inner spring mattresses, you might think otherwise. Pro number 2, the air pole system is definitely less fiddly and definitely quicker. So as long as the air poles don't pop, you're onto a winner. Pro number 3, the canvas quality on this is approaching that of premium swags. It's not quite there, it's a little bit lighter, but it's pretty good. Pro number 4, the door flaps come right down over the seam where the canvas meets the PVC bucket floor. And as you're about to find out, you're gonna need it. It's time for the cons. Con number 1, the bloody thing leaks. It's that cheap seam where the canvas meets the PVC bucket floor. You can see where the water ran down and collected in the seam here. If you look really close, you can just see that there is water pooled there, and it has started to come through on the seam here. Now, I watched these swags very carefully when they came out. I watched people's posts on social media as they bought them. I looked closely at the pictures and they had the nice flat seam. I looked at the product pictures on the King's website. Nice flat seam. I went into the King's showroom and had a look at the swag in person. Properly done, nice flat seam. I bought my Big Daddy Air home and it has the cheap, crappy folded seam. Now, if you're not familiar with what this means, it means that no amount of seasoning will ever stop that from leaking. In short, it's because canvas swells but PVC doesn't. So the holes in the PVC are never going to swell up. I've done a whole video on it and I'll put the link up the top now. So if you want to learn about the problem and how to fix it, that's the info. But I did also get some across the top, but I can't see where it's dripped from. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's run down this cord. There. These are my leak points. It was only a couple of drops after a full 45 minutes under a sprinkler. And I think those areas are actually going to swell up and seal over time because it's all canvas. Canvas meets canvas. It's going to swell to fill the holes. Con number 2. Now, this one, to be fair, is true of any double swag. They are massive. They use a huge amount of fuel when you carry them on the roof, and they take up too much space in the cargo area of your car. And con number 3, if you remember, I mentioned earlier, I set it up in the backyard for 7 days and I noticed an interesting problem that makes a lot of sense. The days are warm, the nights are cold. Air expands when it's hot, air contracts when it's cold. So, at night, the swag had a habit of getting a bit of a sag on as the air inside the air poles contracted. And then during the day, it expands and gets firm again. There is a slight concern there for me that if you were to pump it up on a cool evening and then leave it out for a hot day, would the air expand enough to explode the air poles inside the swag? Might not happen, but it's a thought worth considering. Repairability. Is there any spare parts available? It doesn't seem that there are any spare parts available for this swag. Definitely not any air poles, and that would be my main concern. However, if they do burst, it should be covered under the 2-year warranty. And here's a tip from me. Don't let them tell you it's because you overinflated it, because if you're using the pump that comes with the swag that has the pressure relief, that should be impossible. Some of you watching will be aware I usually have tips and hacks for every product I review. Number 1, I briefly touched on it. If you want this thing to be waterproof, you will have to seal that seam. Number 2, when you're rolling it up, it can be a bit hard to get the air out of the poles. Pay extra special attention, especially at the far end, that you squeeze all the air out of the poles and get them folded right so that you can push the air out the valve at the other end. And number 3, if you're buying one of these, open it in the car park and check that you're getting what you paid for. Check that what you're getting is exactly what you saw on the showroom floor. So in summary, do I recommend it? I think if you can pick one of these up between the $350 to $400, you're on the mark. It's a good purchase for that price. All you've got to do is purchase some of this seam sealer stuff here, which I've shown how to use in that other video. It's like 20 to 30 bucks. Seal up that seam and you're not going to have any problems. If they had kept that flat seam, absolutely would be worth the 500 bucks. Do you own one of these or even any other air swag and have any tips and tricks or opinions to share? Please let us know down in the comments, and you may just be helping a fellow camper in the future.